This is a dark account of a terrifying encounter with evil forces, where an ancient curse has been cast upon a group of teenagers in a small American town. Little did they know that their steps into the forest of Ravenwood would awaken something that should have remained dormant. Pastor Epaminondas have been called to confront this evil, an unseen enemy, more ancient and cruel than any spirit I have ever faced. It was a cloudy October afternoon when I got the call. Elizabeth Harris, a grieving mother from a small rural town called Willows Creek, sounded desperate on the phone. There was urgency in her voice, a tone of fear that I knew well. In all my years of exorcisms and confrontations with evil, I had seen that kind of fear only in people who had witnessed things that most people would never imagine to be real. Elizabeth told me that her son, Tom, who was only 17 years old, was being tormented by something inexplicable, along with his friends. She said it all started with an innocent game, a nighttime exploration of the ruins of an old abandoned church in a place known locally as Ravenwood. The older residents of Willows Creek had a kind of fearful respect for the place. They said it was once a church that had been the scene of horrific events many years ago. A church that had been closed after macabre incidents and over time had been taken over by the forest, its walls covered in vines and moss, its windows shattered and its wood eaten away by time. Hearing Elizabeth's words, I knew that this was no ordinary hysteria. Ever since that night, her son and his friends had begun to behave strangely, with an unhealthy paleness to their faces, marked by constant nightmares and severe insomnia. Tom, her son, had become increasingly withdrawn, mumbling nonsense and seeing shadows that only he could see. Elizabeth also said that, in moments of greatest despair, he would describe a woman with black, empty eyes who watched him. This figure would not leave him alone, appearing in his dreams and now, even while he was awake. Looking at the old photograph of the church Elizabeth took me to, I felt a cold rush run down my spine. I had seen places like this before, spaces that were connection points between the physical and spiritual world, where dark entities nestled, taking advantage of any opportunity to cross over to our side. Over the years, I learned to distinguish simple youthful curiosity from a genuine call for help, and everything Elizabeth reported seemed to indicate that something much more dangerous had been awakened that night. I took my crucifix, an ancient relic that accompanied me in all my spiritual battles, and booked a room at a boarding house in the city. The next day, I set off for Willows Creek, carrying with me not only the instruments of my faith, but also the certainty that what I would face would not be an ordinary spirit. On the winding road that led to the city, the sky remained cloudy, and a low mist covered the fields, creating a heavy atmosphere, as if nature itself sensed the presence of something evil lurking. When I arrived, I went straight to the Harris house. The residence was simple, with a wooden fence that had worn away over time, and the tall grass showing signs that the family had. I was too busy to attend to mundane details. Elizabeth greeted me with red-rimmed eyes and an expression that was a mix of brokenness and fear. She seemed to hope that my presence would be the answer the family desperately sought. Inside the house, all was silent, except for the ticking of an antique clock on the wall. Tom's father, a stout man with calloused hands, sat silently by the door, as if the presence of a minister were his last resort. Tom lay on the living room couch, wrapped in blankets, his skin pale and his eyes sunken. As I entered, he glanced at me, and I saw something disturbing in his face, a frightening emptiness that seemed to consume every shred of life in him. As I approached, Tom muttered something inaudible. I leaned in to listen, and he whispered in a strange, broken voice, something I will never forget. "She's here, Pastor. She told me she won't go away. She said we're already doomed." A chill ran down my spine, and the air seemed to grow heavier. Elizabeth began to sob softly beside me, and Tom's father clenched his fists, seemingly unable to fight the terror that enveloped his family. I took a deep breath and said a silent prayer. I knew that from that moment on, my faith and courage were severely tested. I spent the rest of that night listening to the stories of the other teenagers who had accompanied Tom to Ravenwood Forest. There were 4 of them in total, including Tom. Each of them, without exception, recounted visions of the same woman, a hooded figure with dark eyes and an oppressive presence. One of them, John, the shyest of the group, confessed that, since that night, he felt like someone was watching him even in his own room. It was as if the woman had crossed space and time, leaving the forest and beginning to haunt his dreams and lives. As I listened to the stories, I realized that the woman's description matched ancient accounts of entities linked to black magic cults, entities that fed on the fear and vitality of unsuspecting young people, growing stronger each time they were summoned. This woman was no ordinary spirit, and her presence in that abandoned church certainly had much deeper and more dangerous roots. As night fell, I sensed that my mission would be long and challenging. It was clear that simply banishing the spirit would not be enough. Something about the way Tom and his friends talked in the presence of this woman in their dreams suggested that the connection between them and the entity was more intense than a simple encounter with the supernatural. It was as if she had marked each of them, an invisible curse, a chain that connected them directly to her. I prepared myself to begin a series of prayers with the families. We knew that before any exorcism, we would need to strengthen everyone's faith and spiritual protection, as the evil we faced seemed to be firmly rooted in their souls. I looked one last time at the cloudy sky over Willows Creek and felt a heavy weight in my heart. I knew this was just the beginning of a long battle. That same night, after praying with the families, I decided to investigate the location where the group of teenagers had encountered the entity. I gathered up my courage and asked one of the young men, John, to accompany me to the Ravenwood Forest. He hesitated, but his eyes showed that he understood the gravity of the situation. There was a sense of guilt on his face, as if he felt responsible for what was happening. I assured him that my presence and faith would protect him, and that he was not alone in this battle. We crossed the center of town, where streetlights glowed dimly in the spreading fog. John and I walked in silence, but I noticed that he was shaking, not just from the cold, but from fear. When we arrived at the entrance to the forest, the atmosphere changed abruptly. The air became thicker, as if we were about to enter a place that did not belong to the living world. I looked at John, and he swallowed hard, staring into the thick shadows between the trees. The forest was deathly silent, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves and the sound of our footsteps on the damp earth. As we entered, the silence seemed to increase, to the point where even our breathing became audible. John looked around, alerting me to the things he and his friends had seen the night it all began. He pointed to a clearing where, according to him, they had found strange symbols drawn on the ground. As we looked into the clearing, we immediately felt the presence of evil. It was a place marked by an oppressive energy that seemed to pulse in the air. The trees around it were twisted and covered in thick, dark moss. In the center of the clearing were stones arranged in a circle, and among them were ancient engravings, symbols I recognized from old books on dark magic. Among the stones was an unlit candle, worn by time, and the remains of an ancient offering, as if someone had performed a ritual many years ago. Suddenly, John shivered. He walked over to a nearby tree, where an even more macabre symbol was carved. A pentagram with thin lines that had been made recently. I brought my hand closer to the crucifix on my chest and began to pray quietly, hoping to ward off the presence that seemed to manifest itself in that place. She said, "She's waiting for us." John whispered, almost breathless. I looked at him, noticing that his expression had changed. His eyes were fixed on a point in the darkness, and before I could react, he began walking towards a denser path, as if in a trance. I grabbed his arm and brought him back, but he continued to mumble nonsense, as if he were listening to a voice that only he could hear. As I tried to bring him back to reality, I heard a sound that froze my blood, footsteps coming from every direction. It was as if something was circling around us, a presence we couldn't see but was certainly watching us. Suddenly, I felt an icy touch on the back of my neck, and a shiver ran down my spine. I looked around, but there was nothing, only shadows moving between the trees. I decided that was enough for tonight. We needed to get out of here before something worse happened. I grabbed John's arm, and we started walking back toward town. But the path seemed to have changed. Every step seemed to take us further away from the exit, as if the forest was trying to keep us inside. My mind started playing tricks on me, and it was as if the environment around us was distorted, as if we were walking in circles. It was then that I heard the sound of a low, sinister laugh. It was the same voice Tom had described earlier, the voice of the woman with the black eyes. This voice seemed to be whispering directly to me, speaking in a language I could not understand. My instincts told me that we were being tested, that it wanted to break us before we could even confront its true power. Back in town, John was in for a shock. On the way home, he didn't say a word, just stared straight ahead, as if still trapped in the vision of that woman. I told him to go and rest, and for his mother to keep watch at night. As for me, I returned to the small boarding house where I was staying. As I tried to rest, I was tormented by dark nightmares. In each dream, I saw that woman standing among the trees, me watching her with a blank, piercing gaze. The next day, we brought the teenagers and their families together again. It was clear that this entity had already built a deep connection with young people and knew that the situation required drastic intervention. During the prayers, I discovered signs of possession in each of them, mild convulsions, glassy eyes, strange murmurs. They repeated the same name, Letitia. It doesn't take me long to figure out that this name belongs to an ancient figure in Willows Creek history, a woman accused of witchcraft centuries ago and burned at a forest fire. With each session, he realized that Letitia's spirit was not simply a vengeful spirit. She was an entity that fed on the youth, fears and desires of teenagers, as if she were trapped by a curse that forced her to seek the vitality of those who dared to cross her path. On the third night of the sessions, things took a dark and frightening turn. Lucy, one of the young women who had maintained a certain calm until then, went into a trance during prayer and began speaking in a voice that was not her own. "You have no power here, Pastor," she whispered with a distorted smile, her eyes dark as coal. "They are mine already. I knew that if I wanted to save them, I would have to go beyond conventional actions." That night, I decided to confront Letitia directly. I returned to Ravenwood Glade alone, proposing to confront the spirit on its territory. I carried with me candles, salt, and an old Bible with specific verses for the exorcism. When I arrived at the site, I began the ritual, casting a circle of protection around myself and chanting prayers that had never failed before. But that night, it seemed like nothing was enough. Letitia manifested as a shadow that writhed around me, taking physical form as I continued to pray. Her face was a mixture of hatred and suffering, her empty eyes reflecting years of malice and pain. "They came to me, Pastor," she whispered, her voice dripping with contempt. "I only showed them what awaited them." The confrontation with Letitia was intense and exhausting. With each word of the exorcism, she writhed, but her power seemed unshakable. At one point, I felt her icy cold touch my shoulder, and a deep pain coursed through my body. It was as if she were trying to possess me, to break me from within. But with one last effort, I uttered the final verse. She screamed with unearthly fury, and the shadow dissipated into the air, leaving only silence and a light, icy breeze. When I returned to town, I found the teenagers awake and free from Letitia's influence. They were still frightened, but I could tell that the connection with the entity had been severed. However, deep down in my thoughts, I knew that the battle was not yet completely won. Letitia was gone, but the evil she represented still loomed over Ravenwood, waiting for the right moment to return. The day after the attempted exorcism was even darker. Although I had felt a slight break after my confrontation with Letitia, it seemed that her presence lingered, seeping into the lives of the teenagers in a subtle, almost imperceptible, but terrifyingly powerful way. That morning, Elizabeth reminded me again, telling me that Tom and Lucy had spent a sleepless night, tormented by visions. They claimed to see Letitia in every shadow, to hear her voice in every whisper of the wind. The entire town seemed affected. The older residents of Willows Creek began to talk about a darkness that was falling over the houses and the forest, as if to inform them that something from the past had returned. It was as if a thick cloud hung over us all, a fog of fear that could not be dispelled. That night, I decided to gather all the teenagers in the old abandoned church. The choice was deliberate. I wanted to confront Letitia on her turf, in a last-ditch effort to free them from her influence. Elizabeth and some of the parents were reluctant, but they knew there was no other option. If we were to defeat this evil, we would have to face it head-on. The walk to the church was filled with tense silence, broken only by the sound of our footsteps on the dead leaves. The group followed me, each of the young people with an expression of fear and exhaustion. The air was thick, and as we approached the church, the wind grew stronger, whipping the trees around us, as if the forest itself wanted to stop us from advancing. When I got to the entrance of the church, I lit some candles and distributed a handful of salt among the teenagers, asking them to stay inside a circle that I had drawn on the ground with the rest of the salt. I told them not to leave this protective space, no matter what they saw or heard. I knew that the confrontation would be violent, and the circle was our only protection against Letitia. I stood in the center of the church, which was now plunged into darkness, except for the dim light of the candles. I began to chant prayers of exorcism, calling upon the divine power to break the evil bond that Letitia had created with these young men. The walls of the church echoed my voice, as if each word was absorbed by the place, a space where good and evil were now engaged in an invisible battle. Then it all began. The candle flames flickered and, for a brief moment, went out. Silence filled the church, thick and suffocating. I felt her presence like a chill that froze my soul, and I saw the shadows around us begin to move, twisting, taking on grotesque shapes. Suddenly, a figure appeared out of the darkness. It was Letitia. She appeared out of the shadows, a pale, skeletal figure, shrouded in a cloud that spread across the church floor like thick smoke. Her eyes were empty holes, black as the abyss, and her smile was a long, cruel slit that revealed thin, pointed teeth. She looked at me with utter contempt, as if I were a mere inconvenience in her path. "Do you think you can stop me?" His voice sounded hoarse and filled with a hatred that seemed to have been building up for centuries. "They came to me, Shepherd. They belong to me, and you don't have the power to change that." She began to approach the circle where the teenagers were standing. Some of them were crying silently, others squeezed their eyes shut, as if by ignoring her presence they could somehow escape her. But Letitia's influence was strong. Lucy began to mumble incomprehensible things, and I saw that she was almost in a trance, her eyes moving rapidly, taking in things that only she seemed to see. It was at that moment that Letitia stepped forward, breaking through my protective line, and a powerful energy filled the church. The air around us grew heavy, and I felt a pressure on my chest, as if gravity had multiplied. I continued to pray, but each word came out with difficulty as the weight of Letitia's presence tried to silence me. It was as if she were draining my energy, suffocating my faith. Suddenly one of the candles lit by itself, and I saw Letitia's gaze fix on Tom. She reached out toward him, her long, thin fingers twisting like the roots of a dead tree, and I knew she was trying to possess him completely as a final demonstration of her dominance. "No!" I screamed, throwing myself between her and the boy. I felt a brutal impact, as if an invisible force had thrown me against the church wall. My back hit the cold stone and I collapsed to the floor, my vision blurring as I tried to get up. Pain radiated through my body, but I knew I had to keep going. Every second she spent in that place was a second of more suffering for those young people. As I struggled to my feet, Letitia began to laugh, a cold laugh that reverberated off the walls. Her voice seemed to multiply, echoing from every corner of the church, as if the structure itself were possessed by her evil. "What have you, shepherd, against time and death?" she whispered, her words now resonating directly in my mind. "You may fight me, but I will always return. These young men belong to me, as will all others who dare enter my forest." I gathered all my strength, holding my crucifix, and continued the exorcism. My words came out brokenly but firmly as I invoked divine protection against Letitia. The shadows around us wavered. Her figure began to tremble as if it were losing its form, its substance. But then, in a final act of desperation, Letitia let out a scream, a piercing sound that seemed to pierce our ears and minds, and the young men began to convulse, their voices blending into a terrifying cacophony. She was trying to break down my defenses and overcome the group through fear and pain. It was a horrific sight. Their eyes rolled back, their mouths open in a silent scream as an unseen force tried to rip their souls into Letitia's dark grasp. Knowing this was my last chance, I gave my all in the final act of the exorcism. With a firm voice, I declared in the name of God that Letitia would no longer have dominion over them. The candlelight shone brightly, filling every dark corner, and the shadows that had enveloped Letitia began to dissipate like smoke blown away by the wind. With a final scream, she disappeared into the darkness, giving way to silence. The children collapsed to the floor, exhausted but free. Letitia's presence had been dissipated, and I felt a heavy collapse in the air of the church. I fell to my knees, exhausted, and gave thanks in prayer. However, as I left the church, a disturbing feeling came over me. I knew that the evil that resided in those woods still existed somewhere. Perhaps Letitia had been banished, but her curse still hung over Ravenwood, and someday, someone might once again awaken her dark spirit. With Letitia finally banished, I felt a calm settle in the old church. The silence that once felt oppressive was now like a light breeze after a storm. The teenagers were exhausted, lying on the floor in complete silence, but their faces no longer reflected the same fear. It was as if the release of Letitia's spirit had lifted a weight from their souls. Although we knew that what we had experienced there would remain marked in our memories forever. As the group slowly regained their strength, I helped them to their feet, one by one. Their expressions were a mixture of brokenness and confusion, still trying to comprehend the magnitude of what had just happened. Elizabeth and the other parents waited outside the church, looking on with anticipation and apprehension. When they saw their children emerge unharmed, they rushed to hug them, tears of relief streaming from their eyes. The problem, however, felt unresolved. As I left the church, I turned one last time to look at the building. The weathered, moss-covered walls simply held the secrets of all that had happened there. It was a place of dark memories, and I knew that whatever remained there would never find peace on that piece of land. I had learned in my years of serving the Lord that some places were cursed in ways that not even the most powerful exorcisms could alter. However, There was a silent hope that perhaps our ritual had done that night had broken part of the curse that had plagued the place. Letitia's spirit had been driven away, but something inside me still feared that she might one day return. I tried to push the thought away, focusing on the gratitude I felt for the young people's safety. Upon returning to the city, I stayed for a few more days, making sure that Tom, Lucy, John, and the other teenagers were okay, and that no evil influences were continuing to disturb them. It was as if a blizzard had finally dissipated from their eyes, and the look on each of their faces indicated that the nightmare was beginning to disappear. During those days, I explored Letitia's history, trying to understand what exactly had given rise to her vengeful spirit. I visited a small library in the town, spoke to some of the older residents, and learned more about her. Letitia was a woman who, centuries earlier, had been accused of witchcraft and murdered by the Willows Creek community. They accused her of witchcraft by luring young people into the woods, where she performed dark rituals. Her death was cruel and painful, and legend said that before she died, she cursed the place, vowing to return to torment those who dared to invade her eternal peace. I understood then that Letitia was not only an entity that sought to feed on fear and youth, but also a spirit shaped by pain and injustice. The curse she had placed upon Ravenwood was as old as the town itself, and her spirit was unusually strong due to the suffering accumulated during her life and death. She was a painful reminder that evil does not always arise out of nowhere. Often, it is the result of the cruelties and injustices of this world. When it was time to leave, I left town with an odd sense of accomplishment, but with a lingering uncertainty about Ravenwood's future. I didn't share my fears with the townspeople, but I did make a point of warning them never to allow anyone near the old church in the woods again. The town had lost its young people over the years, drawn to the dark legend of Letitia, and I worried that new ones would emerge. My last conversation was with Elizabeth. She thanked me with a gratitude I had rarely received in my life, but I could see in her eyes the same gratitude I felt. We said goodbye, and she promised to keep Ravenwood a secret, not to allow Letitia's name to become a myth to be exploited. In the months that followed, I received letters from Elizabeth and other parents confirming that peace had returned to their homes. The nightmares had stopped, and the young people were back to normal, resuming their routines and lives. However, Elizabeth wrote to me in a letter that Tom still spoke in his dreams, mumbling words in a language she did not understand. But when he woke up, he remembered nothing. Finally, I realized that I had done all I could. The battle against Letitia had been won, but we knew that the war against evil was never ending. Each exorcism, each confrontation with the supernatural left deep scars, not only on those involved, but on me as well. Age had brought me wisdom, but also the weight of all the lives I had touched, of all the spirits I had faced. Each case left a scar on my soul, a reminder that the line between the world of the living and the dead was thinner than anyone could have imagined. As I thought back to that night at Ravenwood Church, I realized that Letitia represented not just evil, but the hatred and resentment that had built up over time. She was a reminder that the past is never completely buried, and that wrongs and injustices committed can return, demanding justice, even if in dark and twisted forms. From time to time, I still think about the young people and Willows Creek. Can a town now at peace keep its secret? What if one day another group of young people dares to defy the legends and enter Ravenwood? The memory of Letitia remains vivid in my mind, and I know that even though her spirit has been driven away, her influence will never completely disappear. Evil always finds a way back, and it is up to us, those who believe in the light, to be ready to face it when it rises again. If you like this story, give it a like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so that YouTube can recommend this video to more people. Tomorrow, I'll be back with another chilling story. May God be with you, my beloved ones, and remember that evil is always lurking around us, waiting for us to make a mistake. If you want to see your story told here by this old pastor, send me an email, and I'll be happy to put it here on the channel.